speaking with us today is Dr. Josh Makower, Director and Co-founder at Stanford Byers Center for Biodesign at Stanford University School of Medicine and Boston Scientific Applied Bioengineering Professor of Medicine and of Bioengineering at the Stanford University Schools of Medicine and Engineering. Dr. Makower, would you like to tell us more a bit about your background and research?
Sure. Happy to do that. And really excited to get a chance to talk to all of you. It's a real pleasure. And you know, I could just start by just saying that, a while ago, then this was a little bit of a while ago, I was exactly like you. I was thinking about what did I want to do with my life, and I wasn't exactly sure. In fact, I thought I wanted to be a full-time musician. And I actually started school as a music major, if you can believe that. I started college as a music major, but I quickly found my passion shortly thereafter, which was to figure out a way to use technology to help people. So I'll show you a little single slide here that sort of tells my whole story in one slide. This is basically my whole fingerprint of my life. And I did start at Case Western as a music major, but then discovered engineering. And what I found amazing about engineering, and I started music major because I love music, I love playing music, I love all of that. But as I got, and I thought that's what I wanted to make my career about. But when I got into college, I just realized, wow, I like playing music. I don't like studying music. And I don't know if I can spend all my time just doing music. And I like to keep it as a part of my life, which I still to this day, I play with a band in New York City and write music. And it's still a big part of my life, but it's not my career. And that's actually great that way. It's a creative outlet. But what I did find is that I really love the idea of combining science and engineering and math and all these things to actually making a positive impact on the world and improving people's lives. And I fell in love with the idea that you can just design things, like make things that work and that people interact with. And that was really, really cool. And, we go to these classes, like, why am I in this class? What am I learning? All that kind of stuff. Like, how is this going to relate to me? Why do I need to know about cosines and sines and, triangles or whatever, what have you? And then you realize at some point, like, whoa, actually the whole world is built on this. Like everything, the chair you're sitting on, the desk, the car, the plane, the television, the computer, it's like all engineering, and engineers basically create the world. And so, if you want to build something about that actually works and can be a part of the world and change the world, and being an engineer is like the way to go. And so I found engineering at Case Western and actually transferred over to MIT here. I was lucky to kind of get into MIT. It was a great place. There are great engineering schools everywhere. I loved my engineering experience. And it really made me think about, okay, if I really want to have an impact on human beings, how can I do that even more meaningfully? Can I translate engineering into medicine and learn how to use engineering to improve therapies? And so that's why I went to medical school. I went to NYU Med in 1985 and studied medicine, but of course with an engineer's brain, and so that's how I looked at it, and I realized, oh my God, so many problems to solve, so many things that don't work, so much suffering, so much pain, and people that need better treatments and therapies. And so I just realized, wow, there's just a ton of stuff to do. Very exciting to maybe play a role in doing that. And my first job out of medical school was at Pfizer. And it's a big healthcare company. At the time, they had a device division when I joined. And I really loved translating my mechanical and engineering background into devices, medical devices, which could be like implants, like hips and knees, or tools that they use in surgery, like, special devices, lasers, or energy, or staples, or things that hold their body together, or solve problems. So many things to do. so many procedures to imagine that could be better. And so I went to Pfizer to try to do that, and I got a great grounding in a big company, really understood it. And that's really where I realized that there's sort of a method to inventing things and creating things in health. And so it was at Pfizer that I started this little program called Fresh Tech, which was the prototype of what later became Biodesign. But that framework of a methodology for innovation is basically what defined my entire career. So, here I am, whatever, 10 years after graduating from high school, and basically having a insight and in my that came, after lots of study, but not that much study. 10 years, it seems like a lot probably to you, but it isn't a lot in the big scheme of things. But there I am. That moment defined my whole career. From that point on, it was like sort of everything else fell into place. And so I used that methodology at Pfizer to develop a number of different products and ideas while at Pfizer Medical Devices. Pfizer paid for me to go to business school during that time, which was fantastic. So I added the business experience on top of my medical and engineering background, and I was able to get in, feel confident enough to go start my own company, which was ExploreMed in '95, and that was a company dedicated towards creating new solutions to problems. I basically was going to go do it. So again, 15 years after high school, I'm now creating a enterprise that now has basically founded multiple companies and created all these things that have helped people. And I'm going to talk about some of those things really briefly, but anyway, I just want to sort of relate that, like, it is not that far away for you to do something like this. And if you get inspired, you find your way to the things that you love doing and that get you excited. This is what it's all about. So just to go through this whole phase here, project that I worked on was called Transvascular. This is another new company that we started out of the incubator. And this was really about sort of reopening flow of blood to tissues that needed it, where you had clogged arteries because of cardiovascular disease. And we invented a methodology of sort of exiting and re-entering vessels to bypass around blockages. And that technology was ultimately bought by Medtronic. The first one was bought by a company called Bard that's now part of Becton Dickinson, which is a big company out in New Jersey. And look, that's sort of the way these companies go. I mean, you create them, you establish it as a thing, hopefully you prove it out, hopefully maybe even get it to sales, and then ultimately these big companies have distribution, they have worldwide exposure, they can take your product and bring it to the world. So you could do that and bring it to the world yourself, but it's really hard and takes a long time. And I think that's the other thing to realize is you aren't always going to be successful. Even for somebody like me who's had a lot of success, I can still try things and they don't work. And you have to accept that as an innovator, that sometimes things are not going to work. You dust yourself off, you get right back up, and you do it again. And the next company is a company called Moxymed. This is a company focused on treating arthritis of the knee. And we have a really neat new idea to install essentially a shock absorber to reduce pain and improve function for people who have early stage osteoarthritis, which is the sort of pain in the knee that you may get in middle age, and prevent people and hopefully stop people from having to have their knee totally replaced. And this would be a real advantage and be less costly and also better for patients. So that's Moxymed. And then I took a little side opportunity to do a consumer product that you've probably seen in shelves if you've walked through stores. You're not of the appropriate age to enjoy this product yet, but it's a wine technology for allowing you to dispense a single glass of wine from a bottle without opening it, so you don't ruin the bottle. The bottle can stay forever, and you can just take a glass of wine out. And that's called Coravin, and that was invented by a colleague of mine. We co-founded the company in 2012. Anyway, along the way, I, with all those experiences creating companies and inventing technologies for health, and we're still working on new things, I got an opportunity to step back into the venture fund that helped fund these projects and got to see it from the investor side, which is really interesting. I did that for about 6 years. And then in 2001, I moved over to Stanford full time. And I'm a professor at Stanford now, running Biodesign that I actually started back in 2001. And Biodesign is a program at Stanford which trains people to do basically what I've done for a living: identify problems, figure out a framework for solving them, invent solutions, and then create the right framework to launch them as companies or products or what have you within bigger companies. This is a methodology. If you're interested in it, you can find out exactly the methodology for free online. It says, I think it's called Biodesign Guide or Student Guide.biodesign.edu. I should know that offhand, but it's just look up Student Guide or Biodesign Guide in Stanford, and you'll find the link to it. And it's a free resource, lots of videos, and you can learn how to do exactly what I've done all these years, and that we hope to train even more, and maybe even see some of you at Stanford in our programs. And so I'll leave it at that. On the bottom of some of the companies that I've made investments in as an investor. I also got involved in some policy work trying to improve the process for FDA legislation, FDA regulation for medical devices, and that's something I continue to be involved in, which is the future of policy to help support all of you as you become innovators and hopefully make it just a little bit easier for all of you to be successful. And that's my life in a nutshell.
Hi, Dr. Makower. Thank you for that great presentation about your life's work. Now we'll move on to the Q&A section. So for our first question, what first sparked your interest in bioengineering, and why did you choose to go into that field with the nexus of medicine as well?
Yeah, I'll make this relatable and say that I know like superhero movies are really big, and you've probably been to a lot of Marvel and DC movies, and really appreciate these amazing superpowers that the superheroes have, right? And that's really inspirational, and yet very inaccessible, because it's not likely we're going to be spinning spider webs out of our hands and climbing buildings. However, when I was a kid, there's a show called The Bionic Man, and it was about an astronaut that got into a really bad accident, and then the scientists and engineers figured out how to build his body parts over. So he had a bionic arm that was stronger than anything, could bend bars, and he had bionic legs. He could jump over buildings, and he had a bionic eye that could see super far, and this kind of stuff. And then what was cool about that is a superhero, but a superhero that was actually built with technology, things that we actually have now. That we can use to build and improve people's lives. So when I was a kid, the idea was, this is cool. We all love these superhero stories, but the idea that you could use technology to actually make people better and stronger and faster and all that kind of stuff was very inspirational. So that was my inspiration, was this show called Bionic Man. And but the truth is, it's really true. We can really make people better. We can really do things that improve people's lives with technology, stuff that we can actually, build and hold and touch in our hands and develop in labs and put it out there in the world. And then it could help you, it could help your grandma, it could help your kids in the future, so stuff like that. This is what's so amazing. So the power of it is what inspired me to go into the field.
And also, building on that, what specifically inspires you to continue innovating throughout your life?
Yeah, I can't resist a problem that I can see that is a big problem that people suffer with, that others haven't solved yet. I really have that. I feel that it's somewhat irresistible to go and try to grapple with, and I guess having done it a couple of times, there's just a tremendous sense of accomplishment and joy that comes from seeing it be a reality. I bump into people all the time, and they've either had my procedure or they've used one of my devices or something like that, and that is just the best. I mean, it's like awesome. I mean, you just, for me anyway, like that is, it is real impact. So you want to go do something that has impact. This is a great field to do it in, because of course you can make a great living doing it. You can pay for your family and your kids to go to school, and live comfortably and all those good things. But at the same time, you can also provide so much good to other humans. It's just amazing. So it's just a double or triple benefit in life to do something that you enjoy, that brings you joy, and then also allows you to have make a living, and get for your family the things that you want for your family, and then third, help so many other people. It's like, well, who gets to do that? It's pretty special. So I think that's what keeps me going.
So you've established numerous companies and products. So we would like to know what challenges you faced while establishing them.
Yeah. Well, look, every time you take on a problem that's never been solved, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And you can face a lot of doubts. Like, can I do this? No one else has solved it before. What makes me think I can actually solve it? And I don't know if I could solve it. I'm not sure. And a lot of times we try things, we don't solve things. I mean, I'm just showing you the things that worked out. I'm not showing you the hundreds of other things that we tried that didn't work, and how many times we failed, that nobody even knows about because we never even showed anybody. And I think you just have to be prepared for a lot of failure. It's not going to be, it's not going to go well the first time, and then you're going to have to try again, and then you're going to have to try again, and you just can't give up. And so that's the thing, is perseverance. Not giving up. Don't give up. Just keep on trying, because I'm partially dyslexic. It's not easy for me to get through a whole textbook or book. I don't read for pleasure. That's just me. I really respect and I'm amazed by people who can do those types of things. I got my own challenges. Everybody has limitations, but you just got to work over them. And then the places where you can identify, hey, I'm not good at this, go find a friend, find a colleague who's really good at that. It's a team, right? None of this stuff that I've done ever in my life has ever been done alone. I can say I invented it, but that's like saying that you brought a match, but there's a whole fire to be created, and then there's lots of wood, and wood takes years to grow, and it's everybody brings their talents to these things. It's like a team effort. And I think the main mission for me is always just creating something that's so compelling that and telling the story, and also sharing credit, and giving other people the opportunity to grow and find their love and opportunity in each of these things. That's the thing. So I guess, there's challenges everywhere. Things are hard. Things don't work. There's barriers, at every level. How do you get the money? How do you get the people to join you? How do you solve this really hard problem? You go try to solve it, doesn't work, try again. I think it is fraught with problems and barriers and things that look difficult. And just the thing to know is the world has never seen you before. You're the new part of this problem, and you have to have that perspective. Every time, everybody's chipping away at it, chipping away, maybe before you got there, but you know what? You might just be that last chip, that just gets to the, because there's so much technology developing and so many other things, and all these things are advancing, AI, robotics, and et cetera. All these things are coming. They weren't there before. They weren't there 10 years ago. The things that you all are learning, like we didn't even know what these things were 10 years ago. Like that you have so many new tools, and so the idea to take your new tools now to some old problems is just like, that's what it's all about. Like you're gonna fix things that I did wrong. My technologies that have things that I was limited by the technology and no knowledge that I had at the time, you're going to go figure out how to make it better, and that's what it is. You stand on the shoulders of the people that came before you, and there's no shame in that. Like that's what the world is about. That's just how we advance. So you get to be the part of that next wave, and that's the perspective that you have. But it doesn't mean that it's easy. It still is hard, and so you still have to be prepared to fail a lot, and embrace that failure as learning. Okay, that one didn't work. Now what do we do? How do we solve that problem? Let's keep on going. Solve it. Okay, this is an issue. Step back. Face your reality. It didn't work. Okay, how do we fix it? And that's the mindset you have to have as an innovator to be successful. And the barriers are everywhere, and they never stop. They're always there, even when you think oh wow, it's so successful, we have this product. Oh no, I still got to raise money for it. I still got to make it profitable. And even after it's profitable, I got to figure out how I grow it. And even after I grow it, you got to figure, well, all you're doing is that one thing. What's next? And it's constantly the next level of challenge. It's like climbing an infinite mountain. And the thing is that it's just knowing that mountain is worth climbing. You never ever really get to the top. You just get to little peaks along the way, and you just have to appreciate look back and go, wow, look at how far we've come. Look at how many people we've helped, and we have more to do. And that's just the sort of the mindset. That's the mindset. You never get to say, well, done. Hey, solved all the world's problems. Let's just all go enjoy ourselves.
Thank you for that advice. So you mentioned how the future generation builds on the backs of the past. So for high schoolers to get to that level of advancing the field, how can high schoolers get involved with bioengineering?
Yeah. Well, look, you're at the stage now where it's all about mastering the fundamentals. That's your mission. Master the fundamentals. Find the meaning in the fundamentals, okay? Like, I can tell you, every single day, I am doing math, I'm doing engineering, I'm doing science, I'm doing medicine, I'm doing business, I'm doing all the things that I learned. Every single day, I call on that education. Your education is your investment in your future. It matters. Every single thing. You think chemistry is not important? It is. And if you really learn it, you can use it. Physics is engineering. Math is engineering. It's all these fundamentals. Know it, learn it, find a way to make meaning out of it. Like, how would this matter? When would it matter? And then it'll sink into you, because if you can use that in your life, then just solving these problems becomes so much easier. It's like this is your vocabulary. This is your vocabulary. So right now, focus on getting those fundamentals, and find inspirational things to follow or read or learn about, and follow your creativity and your curiosity into the areas that fascinate you. But your mission, if you look at my life, I spent a lot of time in school. But while I was in school, I wasn't just doing school. I worked, I interned at doing all sorts of jobs. I was fortunate if I was able to get an internship that was actually relevant to what I wanted to actually be doing. I think there's so much more openness to that now. I mean, take your summers and take some time and do an internship in something you love. Vacations are really attractive, and you should do some of that, but you should also, use the moments that you have, your after school stuff, go after these things. If this inspires you, take those opportunities and enrich your life by building that. But really, get those fundamentals down, because the more that you've got those fundamentals as tools, you're going to be prepared for the journey. And that's sort of ultimately what it's about. But during your off times, take the time to try to explore. Okay, go to this type of company as an intern. Go to that type of company. See what you like. Find your passion. It took me a while to find that. I didn't have a lot of mentors who could help me do that. And I wasn't in an environment like, we're fortunate to have out here in the Bay Area, where, you see high school interns all the time in these companies, So there's lots of interest, lots of opportunity in that, lots of programs to get involved with over the summer in between school, and then just, be well-rounded. I mean, I'm a musician. I love music. I performed in high school in the jazz band, and I was in a marching band, and I was in plays and stuff like that. Do those other things to make, enrich your life. Don't just throw yourself all into science and math. I mean, it's better to have a mixture of all those things to balance it out. But yeah, that'd be my advice on that front.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching our interview with Dr. Makower. Take care, and we'll see you all next time.